big decisions needs to be made in the next couple of weeks, we're told, about the future of HS2 after we had leaks only last week of the HS2 latest review into whether or not it should go ahead or not, and exposing, frankly, the huge likely cost, £106 billion of that project if it does go ahead. Well, let's talk about all of that with Liam Halligan. He's an economist. He's also presented a recent Channel 4 Dispatches investigation into HS2, and he joins us now. Good morning to you, Liam.
Good morning, Julia.
Good morning. Well, there's been a lot of headlines over the weekend about the huge costs and the run. $12 billion it would cost just to cancel the project. We're told by the Observer yesterday. Sunday Telegraph exposing more information just about the huge runaway costs, runaway timetable, and how basically everyone involved is basically been trying to cover up for all the mistakes so far. What do you think the Prime Minister is going to decide? He's got a crunch meeting with the Chancellor Sajid Javid and the Transport Secretary Grant Shapps this week. It does appear that there are hints that he is going to go ahead with it, but do you think that is what he's going to decide, and should he?
All we've got at the moment, Julia, we've got whistleblowers undermining the case for HS2, sort of dropping out the trees, if you like. The Telegraph yesterday reported on its front page that the former head of strategy at HS2, Colin Morris, admitting that the company set up by the government to drive forward this project has been deliberately understating the costs. And even though they're deliberately understating the costs, we're still coming up with estimates now that are in the triple-digit billions, as you say. The original estimate of the cost of HS2 10 years ago was 34 billion, and now we're up above 100 billion. I think it's very tough for the Prime Minister. On the one hand, he wants to convey the idea that he wants to build new infrastructure, and he wants to reach out to the regions of England and the broader UK. And if he cancels HS2, some people will accuse him of failing in that regard. The reality is, though, as many of us have been showing, and I showed in that Dispatches film you kindly mentioned, what you really need in order to give the regional economy a boost in the UK isn't a faster way of getting from London to Birmingham, which will just draw in Birmingham suburbs to become suburbs of London, part of the London commuter belt. What you need is better local commuter services into and between our regional cities in the north of England, in the west of England, in the northeast of England, Scotland and Wales. We're about to start spending, Julia, £6 billion a year on a single railway line. That's why this has reached a crunch point for the next 10 to 15 years. And that's more than we spend each year upgrading and maintaining the rest of the entire national rail network. That's on a single line. I think there's a lot of independent opinion now from within the industry and beyond it that this is far too much to be spending on one project, when what we really need are better local commuter services that will enhance the lives of many more people than a single line.
You've been saying this, I've been saying this for years, an awful lot of people have been saying this for years. An awful lot of, indeed, MPs across the many areas that are supposed to benefit from this. But we know that Prime Ministers over the years, they love a big project, don't they? They want to have something they can sort of slap their name on, even if it doesn't actually appear for decades after they actually announced it. There is a real sort of issue with the sunken cost fallacy right now, that actually, well, we've spent, 4, 6, 8, whatever it is, billion already. What a waste if we don't go ahead with it, even if the extra waste is an extra 100 billion. Is there a way of going forward, though, that, if they did announce a whole swathe, or even the same amount of money being spent on other projects, and we know there's another 48 billion that's being spent long term on other projects already that's committed, that actually, this doesn't have to be a defeat. This doesn't have to be a poor decision. This can be billed as this is the start of, frankly, a bit of sensible governing.
I think it could be a turning point for Boris if he chooses to look at it that way. You mentioned the sunk cost fallacy, and you're completely right. The point isn't the 6 or 7 billion or whatever it is we've already spent. I think the Observer's taking its spin from the train unions who want HS2 to happen by coming up with a bigger number. The issue isn't the single-digit number of billions we spent. It's the tens of billions we're about to spend. That's what you've got to keep your eye on, as any decent business person or poker player knows. I think the only saving grace here is HS2 is very much George Osborne's project. It's a project from the Cameron era. It's Andrew Adonis's pet project. It's not a Boris Johnson project, and he has spoken out about it against it in the past. I think you're right. If he could say, look, we're not doing HS2, but we are going to do all these other projects, and we're going to do them quickly. There are many places in the National Rail Network where you can spend reasonably quickly a couple of $100 million here, there, a small number of billions here and there, at regional pinch points, easing congestion, doing projects that have been screaming to be done for years and can be done relatively quickly, even with progress being made before the next election. Sprinkling out the largesse across a large number of areas across the country is much, much better and more efficient in terms of bang for your buck, in terms of buying votes, if you like, than a single grand projet.